today, I have no words. What's up, family? It's your man, Coach Crump, with my main man, Chizzy.
Yes, sir. What up? I like that hoodie, man.
You already know. You know what I'm saying? I try. You know what I'm saying? I try. Shout out to, you know what I mean, 9 to 5 millionaire, man.
Yeah.
But today, I have no words. I have no words.
You want me to introduce our guest?
Help me out, brother.
All right, so today we are introducing. Where's my camera? Which camera? This camera right here. We have been blessed, honored to have Mrs. Nicole Crumpler. If you don't know, something's wrong with you. You should know. She is the consummate wife, entrepreneur, personal developer, professional developer. We sometimes call her Next Level Nick. Nick is on our podcast. We are honored and blessed to have her here. She is a personal family member of mine. We've known each other as long as I've known this guy right across to me. Amazing. We're happy to have her on our podcast, man. Thank you for joining us, for blessing us. I'm super excited for this conversation.
I'm nervous.
It's nervous. I'm nervous. Excited.
Kai, I ain't that excited, bro. This thing go 50-50.
Nah, man, it's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be amazing.
Yes, babe. It's in starting this, it was in the space of like, hey, man, men learning their journey. And, one time we had a production and we took you and Deani out with us, right? And I'm just expressing this work and me and Chizzy are talking and we're all hanging out. And then you and Deani both was like, I didn't know men deal with that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I didn't know men was processing like that. I didn't know the makeup and the dynamic. I didn't know that was a thing for all men. Like I didn't really know. Kind of as somebody who's been helping me my whole life as an adult, as somebody who's been watching me serve men, as somebody who's been involved with rites of passage and men's retreats and men's conference and men's events and men's coaching calls, and you've always been like a fly on the wall in this entire journey. What has been some of these like crazy takeaways for you as a woman about things that you learned just in the process of being with me over the past 20 years?
Yeah, for sure. I think women in general don't know enough about men. And we don't know as much as we think we know. You think about anything that you want to learn, right? You lot both play basketball, right? So, you got training, you had coaches, you're in the gym working out, like you make all of these investments to learn the thing that you want to master. Sure. In my experience, women aren't doing enough of that. Like how much time are we really spending to know the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with? Like how much do I know about, how he thinks or the challenges that he deals with or the private struggles that he has. Like being a fly on the wall kind of gave me a window view, like a little sneak peek of, oh, that's what it's like to be a man. That's a little different from how I thought, Chris was thinking about things. Like I kind of had to cheat sheet a little bit because I was, you know what I mean? Like I'm always around him. But for me, it was a challenge to be like, man, Nick, maybe your narrative about Crump is all the way off because you didn't take the time to really understand why he's the way he is. I think I took it for granted and maybe a little bit of arrogant of me to feel like, oh yeah, I understand who he is. I didn't. I had a lot of it wrong. And I think our journey, has helped us and really helped me to understand what it means to be a man.
Amazing. I like how you set this stage because now we're gonna go back.
Okay, let's go back.
We're gonna go back to because this is a journey.
Sure.
As we know, you don't arrive. You continuously evolve.
That's it.
Relationships involve.
That's it.
Individuals evolve. If you're not in that space, then I don't know what you're doing with your life, really and truly.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Bermuda. Growing up in Bermuda, what was it like? Help us frame perceptions based on experiences that you had when you was in Bermuda, growing up as a child, under your family. What was it like growing up in Bermuda?
Right.
And how did you start to identify a shift? And we'll get to that as we transition through your journey. Yeah. What it took. How was it to now have one understanding of something, and then to now have experienced marriage, having experienced a husband 20 years, and you talk openly about this, how you guys are just getting into your groove, having been in it for a long time.
Yeah.
Let's set this stage for our viewers so that they can understand what it takes, what it's like to go from this space to an evolving space of nurturing a relationship that looks very different from how it looked in the beginning. So tell us a little about growing up in Bermuda, what childhood was like, what parenting was like, what that was like in Bermuda.
Yeah, because context is important.
Important.
Right?
Vital.
Yeah. So Island Girl, shout out to Bernie.
Yeah. You kind of got to have a fist bump for that. You already know.
Yeah. So
Johnny Bonds.
Yeah, all of that.
Codfish and potato.
Yeah, all of
fish
that.
sandwich
That's
with
it,
hot
come on.
nails.
Yeah, spicy
You know
dicey.
what I'm saying?
All of it. Yeah.
I'm feeling nostalgic right now.
For sure. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Island Girl through and through, born and raised, right? My granny raised me, so old school coming up, right? And she kept me tucked off, right? So she didn't, anytime I wanted to go outside, she would find a reason for me to. You iron your school clothes yet?
Right.
You polish your school shoes yet?
Right.
You got your lunch pack? Now it's dark. Oh, you can't go outside now.
Was it protection or was it discipline, would you say? She wanted to keep you, what do you think was at the core of that?
I think it was a little bit of both.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I definitely think it was a little bit of both.
Okay.
So I was naive for a long time because of my just lack of exposure, right? But it kept me on the straight and narrow. You know what I mean? I think her intention was definitely to keep me focused, and I was very focused. Like Crumpler will tell you, his experience with me, he was like, Nick, your level of focus is unmatched, but honestly, she trained me that way. She was like, Nick, lock you in school. You know what I mean? Like, that was what she wanted me to do. Going outside, having fun, you got plenty of time for that. You got plenty of time for boys. So it was that too, right? She was like, I don't even want you getting caught up in any of that yet. Right? Plenty of fish in the sea, she used to tell me, right? Plenty of fish in the sea.
Grandma got quotes for days.
Right? So she did, so a lot of my upbringing, I was quiet, shy, but very into school, like A's, like being an 8 to A student, like just, that was my bread and butter. Went to university, which is where I met Crumpler, but still, same, had been under a rock for a long time, so just green to a lot of stuff. And it wasn't until I got to college where I kind of started to find my groove a little bit. And I found him. And when I found him, What
was it about him, though? Because I'm pretty sure you had other experiences. No, I mean, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure you had met other men.
Sure.
Throughout your school journey,
But let's
throughout your
be
development.
clear. She didn't meet nobody like me. Like, let's be
We
clear.
know this today. She probably didn't even know that back then.
Oh, she knew. She knew. I'm a special one.
He is a special one.
100%. Nothing is more true.
He's a for sure.
For sure.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, Matt Crumpler, he was different. He was like, nobody that I had ever met before, this country boy from Ocklawaha, swag was on a million, like all the things. And we both played sports, so we shared a love of basketball, and we both shared our faith, right? So, and we were friends first, right? So we kicked it off immediately. Like the connection was undeniable.
It was hard to try to act like there wasn't a connection. That was actually the hard part. Oh, I'm just talking. Your friend wanted me to talk. Oh, I gotta go. Like we had to you had to work to stay away from each other. Like there was.
Why did you feel that was necessary? Why did you just not like, all right, I like you, but I like you. Let's figure this thing out.
Because I'm a player from the Himalayas. Come talk to him, bro. You know what I'm saying? I can't have nobody holding me down, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, so I had to play hard to get, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I couldn't deny the chemistry. I couldn't deny, it was it wasn't no work. It just was, you know what I mean? And for somebody who was highly insecure, you know, you're talking about that swag and confidence, but a lot of that's just insecurity coming from the hood, coming from nothing. Like, you have to stunt till you get there.
Right.
And, but having her, man, she was the first person in my life to see me. Like, my wife was, and I'm 18 years old. It's the first time I've experienced anybody who's seen me. Like, I had somebody who was close, like my sister. You know, God bless her. She's dead and gone. But like, I really didn't experience somebody. I experienced somebody who cared for me, who loved him. My wife was the first person who saw me and was really cool with that.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I think because of how I was brought up and how I saw things through my lens.
Right.
I took everything at face value.
Okay.
Right? So if I, like, hearing him say he lacked self-confidence, I didn't see any of that. I just saw this confident, funny, you know, and I took everything as this is who he is and this is how he is. Like, I never knew about the challenges that he was having. And because you see things through your lens, because I was that way, like, I'm just who I am and I'm not trying to be anything else.
Sure.
I'm thinking this is just who you are and you're not trying to be anything else and everything just is what it is, right? And then it wasn't until, you know, fast forward to, you know, we graduate, we get engaged, I say yes, we get married. You know, I was green, Chizzy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was so much that I didn't know, and so much that I didn't know that I didn't know.
Right.
Right? Because my granddad's not talking to me about it, right? Everything's so taboo. You know, I had some relationships in high school, nothing really, really serious, but now I'm in this serious relationship, but I am 100% green.
And so how did that play out in the beginning with the two of you?
Yeah.
Like, what were the challenges? What were the struggles? What were you learning about yourself?
Yeah.
Learning about him? That it's like, yo, I didn't know any of this. Like, what were you experiencing as a young woman married to this extremely confident basketball player who now we both have an expectation for a relationship, for how this is going to work?
So for me, it turned to confusion. Because I'm just like, wait, but I thought you were, you know, this is what you showed me. So now that we're here, oh, this is starting to look different. Right. And I couldn't understand. And because we had communication challenges, right, in the beginning, I felt like I was in the dark and I had no answers and I didn't know how to figure it out.
Because I would never show her my vulnerability or I never confess my challenges and problems. Like, I ain't never doing any of that. And then I broke up with her 1 year in just because I didn't want to cheat on her.
Right.
But I wanted to have sex with the other person. And then the next time, I said, let's take a break because guys was putting pressure on me that, man, you married already. You 19. You ain't even 20 years old. Like, bro, you already locked up for life. And I'm letting them be in my ear only for them to be trying to get at her. So when I got played, so then I got, bro. So then I was just like, I had to learn, like, hey, bro, what do you want? So what happened was she was pissed at me. That was the first time she was pissed at me. It was like over a year we've been together. And she was just like, no, you playing games. I don't have time for you. And I was like, no, I'm gonna tell you, I'm done. So that Christmas we made up and we've been together like ever since. It was just like a month or two that we was, you know, and people thought it was weird, like, y'all not together, or all y'all together. Because people would tell we was mad, but it's like, you know, the whole campus, really, we was a known couple on the campus, especially me being a basketball player, her being on the basketball team, like, it was a known thing. But after that, it was a lot of learning for me in real time. Like, and then I had to learn, I was fighting two things. I was fighting my wife to love her and this narrative that I was taught. Yeah.
What was that narrative?
Just do what I tell you to do.
Right.
And you should be grateful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to go pretty in depth in terms of what both of you conceptually were thinking, because this is one, as we know, it's one thing to commit to a marriage. It's another thing to make it successful, to be happy, to nurture each other's abilities. You know what I mean?
And we really did hit the first 5 years before we got married was like, it was like we really didn't hit a lot of like hard things until I asked her to marry me.
Yeah. It was easy street. Like leading up to it,
Right.
like it was unicorns and rainbows.
Right.
You know? And then it wasn't until we really got into it that we were just like, oh, whoa. Yeah.
And it's not even to hindsight that you look back, she was 24, I was 22. Like
We were young, cheesy.
it's our first ever significant adult relationship. So I left my mama's house at 18. I was 3 weeks and I've been with her ever since.
Right.
So as an adult, I have never not lived life without her. So Andy, we're talking about at this time, I'm learning life, I'm learning manhood, I'm doing all of this in real time as my body is maturing, as my mind is maturing, as I'm navigating the world with her. And she's just kind of chugging along, because Nick's been pretty consistent about who she is and what she's wanting. I've been pretty driven about it. I never had enough, I wanted more, you know what I'm saying? I was always chasing something, so the present thing wasn't a thing for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Where she was like, "This is more than
I'm good. I'm easy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I don't need a whole lot. I don't ask for a whole lot.
No, low maintenance.
Yeah, very low maintenance. Like Crumpler had big girls. Like and we always knew that because I think we, you know what I mean? Like we kind of knew where each other stood, right? But I think the communication challenge was huge.
Right. And so how did you guys navigate that? Like what were you as an individual
Yeah.
spiritually?
Yeah.
Like how did you navigate? Because problems come.
Yeah.
And as marriage progresses, things compound.
Right.
And compound. When did you both get to a point where it's like, all right, whoa, this is going in a direction that I didn't think it was gonna go?
Yeah.
Did you say, all right, let's do this? Did you say, like, what was the catalyst that led you to have this aha moment where you said, all right, we have to really, really sit down and take a stab at addressing the issues, the stuff, if we want the success of this relationship? And what was that timeline like? Like, if you can recall?
I remember a distinct time where we knew it hit the fan and we had to do something.
Yeah.
And she was pregnant with CJ. I had to get out on our own, live on our own, get away from her family. That was a whole nother topic for another day. But we was in an apartment, but we was in there by ourselves. And, Jada was a 1-year-old. And we had these married friends, Talitha and Rodney. And I had kind of like hinted like, yo, it's bad.
Yeah.
Like we need some help. So she was one of those strong-willed women that be like, I'm giving y'all this and y'all better do it. And I'm gonna check on y'all to make sure you did it. And she gave us a 30-day like rededication to your marriage. And I think we like a year or two in marriage too, because Jada's a honeymoon baby, so probably 2 years in. But we've been together 7 years by this time. And we get to day one of the devotional, and we were so broke at that time. We had no furniture in the entire apartment. We had a bed set and some boxes. So we're, I guess one of her best positions was sitting on the floor with CJ. And so I was sitting on the floor next to her. We did day one, and day one was about commitment. And it broke it down. And we realized that we was having a lot of issues, yes, but what it really brought into question was, are we really committed to this? And we both kind of realized that after reading that to each other and praying that over each other, that we really didn't need the other days. We had to make a decision where we really committed, and we both made that decision.
Right.
And that so when you came out 10-year vow renewal and we said the word we want to bring to y'all was commitment.
Sure.
That was kind of the genesis of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've been around since the beginning of time.
Right.
I remember being on the cruise.
Yep.
I remember saying to you, both of you probably, we want Jada. We want to 9 months from now. What's happening? You know what I mean? So and you could probably attest to this. I remember being this and having my own relationship struggles in the midst of this. So for me looking in, I'm completely oblivious.
You didn't see any of it.
I didn't see any of that.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So to hear the both of you talk about it, and we've talked about it individually, we talked about it in the pod, but to get your perspective from what it felt like, what was the shift that you think you needed to make? Because of course, part of what we are endeavoring to do is to give a perspective from a female perspective on what women, how women can empower themselves so that they can show up and understand the man's plight and also understand their own journey and what they have to do as an individual to better be a resource and be supportive and to understand. Because you said it openly, there's a lot. Like he showed up in a particular way, but I'm like, I didn't even really know. I didn't really know this guy. It was daunting for me. What realities that you have to come to terms with, even growing up under your grandmother?
Yeah.
What she indoctrinated you, what she talked to you about. Yeah. How did you make that shift individually so that you can now be like, all right, I'm ready to receive him, to see him, so that you could be a better wife and he could be a better husband?
Yeah, for sure. I struggled first, right? So I think there were different phases because I was happy, right? And then I was confused, and then I was angry.
Angry at
my situation.
Okay.
Like there was a season where I was mad, for lack of better words.
Right.
Right. Like
you felt that, I'm sure.
He did. He ever. if nobody else did, he did. Right. And I was dark. You know, like I was not myself, and he felt the brunt of that. You know what I mean? So it was just like, you know, in Bermuda, it could be a rat race. And we talked about it, part of the reason why we left. So staying busy at work or staying busy doing theater or like all my extracurricular activities, for me was an escape from my marriage. Like I wanted to do any and everything just to not have to share space with him.
Whoa.
So all that running marathon, Bermuda Idol, face painting, Zumba classes, parade shows, play after play after play, working corporate, traveling with corporate.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember? Because it's one thing to be in it and experience it, and you're like, but why is it's just not him? How come not? And the anger, and like to hear it from your wife as a man, feeling like, you know, y'all alpha male. Y'all got all the boxes checked. You know what you're doing. You know how you're showing up. But what was that like to hear it and feel it from the woman that you love, that you respect?
I felt like the biggest failure ever. Like day to day, I felt like the biggest failure ever. I'm preaching, teaching, coaching undefeated basketball season, mentoring people, speaking life to everybody else. And my wife, I'm a disappointment to her.
Right.
That's what I felt. You know what I'm saying? Because you gotta remember, when I met my wife, man, she was, I never seen anything like her. Like, you know, her dedication to her craft, her dedication to education, her dedication to me, her dedication to her God. Like, I never actually see somebody do it at the level that my wife do it. She would go on vacation for school. She came back with like 5-10 outfits for me, maybe one for herself. We would go to a restaurant. She knew I ain't had no money. She would slide money under the table, tap my leg, make sure I paid the bill in front of her friends. She would buy my flights to come to Bermuda. She would arrange that I was in training, that I had a social life, that I would feel very comfortable in her presence. Like, I never asked or made like a little jab, hey, make sure you respect me. Like, my wife just did it.
Right.
So in my mind as a man, I'm trying to pay her back. Like, I'm trying to honor her, pay her back, take care of her, love her, support her. But how it looked to do that, it was a disconnect. It was a huge disconnect. And then because I felt like such a failure, I struggled to deal with that and to communicate at the same time.
Right.
You know, and for her, it wasn't that deep. You know what I mean? Like, hey man, like I want basic stuff. I need you to, and for me, it was like I was always trying to perform, it was never, and so I had to get to a point where I just said, baby, I apologize, I set you up.
But that was years later.
Right.
Like we struggled. Yeah, like we struggled for a long time.
Right, because you're sitting there playing the game and you have that, and you have the 10-year reunion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you said you struggled.
We were still struggling up to that point.
Still struggling.
Chizzy still, and I think the brunt, a lot of it, like the root cause was communication. So like we can talk about it now and tell you what the challenges were, but we weren't talking like that back then, you know? I was just mad. I didn't know what was wrong with him. He wasn't talking to me. I'm trying to figure out. I'm getting no answers. I'm like, what the hell? Like,
Shouting so
what
loud that you can't even hear me.
like, what did I sign up for? How did I get her? Like, how?
And then here's the other thing. Nick is an amazing human being. So when you get the gravitas of Nick as a human being, it's like something you never experienced before. It's not just because she's my wife and with me. I'm talking about like anybody. Like when you experience Nick,
I can attest to that for sure.
So when I met the dark Nick, and I was the only one experiencing the dark Nick, so nobody else was getting dark Nick.
Right, okay.
So everybody was telling me how phenomenal my wife is.
This same person?
And then I realized that she had a complete like shift.
Yeah.
Like when she was coming to me, like there's a whole shift. And so it was coming with everyday reminder, and then also my needs is not getting met. So it's like I'm getting double wham, but I'm like, but she's next level Nick at work. She's next level Nick for the show. She's next level Nick for the Zumba team.
Yeah.
She's next level Nick at painting people's faces and doing people's makeup or singing people's songs or in the choir or serving in church. And she was like, can't stand this Negro at home. Right, you know what I mean? So it's like, for me, it was like, I was tripping on what I was seeing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because I was kind of a jerk across the board. Like, I'm kind of crump. Like, like, so for me, I struggled with like how you can switch that on and off to me like that.
Like the entitlement, like on me.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm paying the bills, I'm showing up, I'm taking care of the kids, I'm praying over them, I'm anointing the oils, I'm praying over you, I'm serving, I'm giving them. But like, she needed communication, she needed emotional intimacy. I didn't have that skill set. I just didn't have the skill set.
Yeah.
I had the desire, just didn't have the skill set. And I had my reason, and whether they're valid, and that's another conversation. But I didn't have a skill set of being emotionally regulated and communicating intimate with my partner as a adult, managing multiple responsibilities without my needs getting met.
Right.
Because she wanted me to do that from an empty cup in a sense, but she had an empty cup.
Right.
So how'd you fill your cup? Is my question.
Yeah, it took, I would say recent. Would you agree?
Yeah, very recent.
So it got to a point for me where I was just like, can I be frank? What can you say on this podcast?
Whatever you want to say. I told you to go anyway you want.
Whatever you want to say, however you want to say it.
You know, I got to the point where I can't be this person. Like I'm not this type of person.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm just like, I don't want to be this.
What do you mean? What do you mean you don't want to be this?
Like a complete bitch.
Right,
Like just, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like nasty and you know, not taking care of my. That's just it contradicted everything that I said I was and what I stood for. And I was just like, oh, this is not. I can't live the rest of my days like this, right? So, what do I need to do?
Yeah, for me,
right?
for you,
just for me,
yeah,
because I feel like I'm dying over her. Like I feel like I can't do this. And you heard Crumpler say, he's not gonna let me out. Like you're not going nowhere. So it's just like, I feel like I'm bleeding out. He's not letting me go anywhere. So I'm stuck here.
Yeah, I'm suffocating.
And I'm suffocating. So Lord help me. Like I can't do this on my own strength.
Yeah.
Right? Like where I am, I've tried and I am failing. I'm losing myself. Right? I'm losing my belief system. I'm losing my values. Right? Like I am losing. And there is nothing that I can do from this point, clearly, because I am lower than rock bottom. Right? So my shift was, okay, Nick, focus on you. Like, don't even focus on him because you can't change him. You've been in this for over a decade, almost 2 decades now. Like, it's clear that you cannot change Crumpler. So the only thing that you can focus on is your God and you.
He was, in our conversations, even before a podcast, this is what he's saying to me. I can't do nothing about her. I got to focus on me. I got to focus on me. And it's funny, that realization is immensely liberating. I had that same experience. I got to focus on me.
Right.
So I do receive that. So that's important to convey to our viewers, to women, to men.
Yeah.
Because the outcome is not him acquiescing to what you do. The outcome is I'm focusing on me because I can shift me whether you accept it or not.
Right.
I'm going to figure me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like I have to get to a place where I can still be me, irregardless of what he's doing.
Right.
Right. And me still being me. When I say that, I'm not being selfish. I'm the best version of me.
Yeah.
Like I want to show up as the best mama, as the best wife, right? As the best sister, the best friend. Like I want to be the best version of me because no matter what hat I put on, because I wear many, right? You'll still get the best. So me focusing on me means you get a better wife,
Yeah, sure.
right? Because it's not contingent on you anymore. So my focus was my faith.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, what is that focus?
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I even said to Crumpler one time, I said, everybody has the list. They want to do this. They want to lose weight. They want to learn a new skill. They just have their list of things. And I said to him, I said, you know what, Crump? I said, if I focus on one thing, I get everything else that I want.
Yeah.
She had a whole year theme of that for 2022.
I just need to focus on one thing. And that's what I did. I decided to focus on God, and it just took me through this beautiful journey, Chizzy, of getting back to me, right? Which translated into about a wife for Crumpler, about a mama for my children, about a leader for next level. And it don't stop, Like I'm still
That's the
doing,
amazing part.
come on, Che, like
That's the amazing part.
it doesn't stop. Like you just continue to evolve because I realize that that's the only way that we're still here.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the peace,
All of that.
joy,
All of that.
like the unwavering, the unshakable. Like you if you experience it,
Yeah.
you know. You know. It's hard to put in words because as we know, like life is going to throw you everything it can throw you.
Yeah.
But the unwavering peace and joy that comes from just being in God's pocket, in God's arm, under His wing.
That's it.
Having that relationship, I could definitely.
Yeah.
100%. So what is how's the because the shift doesn't come like
No,
that.
it
Doesn't come like that.
It doesn't.
What was instituted, what was put in place to protect, to nurture.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you, and then I'll let you fill in.
I want to go back to Nick honored me so much, in those first 5 to 10 years that we was together, and I just felt like I always owed her. And but what this experience now, like I said, we're 23 years, and what God showed me, the one thing she could tell you, I'm clear about my convictions about things. I don't let in a new year and a new trend and a new app. I don't give a darn what it is. Like, this is how we live in life. I've seen the blessing of that now.
Yeah.
But I hold it with resentment back then because I'm like, why am I'm doing what you say, God. But God really had to show me that all this time that I'm trying to wait on, because she had to wait on me first. Let's be clear. Like, she was like, I know he loved basketball. I know he got just like, well, he ain't gonna play basketball forever. He ain't gonna have that. At some point, he gonna come back and focus on me. But as I came back and focused, I didn't have skill set. So I'm focused on her, but I'm still not executing. Like, it's tearing me to pieces. But I'm like, I love God though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I ain't finna like, oh God, you gave it to me? Well, I'm done with the church. I'm done with the pastor. I'm done with the Bible. I got a new faith now. I got a new thing I made up with this little group of men that I'm with now. Like, she could tell you, no matter what, I was still serving in church, still preaching and teaching, still bringing my family to the Lord. Like that was a move that, And what God was showing to me that wasn't for her. That was for you. That was for you to develop your temperament, your patience, your consideration, your sensitivity, your empathy, because I lacked a lot of that. So I had to really lean on not my own understanding. I had to really lean on not my own experience. I had to really just trust
That's good.
that God, even though it ain't happening for me, and it's not what I want, and it's not happening year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. And I have to still trust.
Yeah.
And so my wife will say stuff, and she'll say, you got to trust them when you can't trace them, and I have finally got to a point where COVID happened, and now we're sitting with each other for a long. So now we can't run to these things that me and my wife was used to doing.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna teach school all day, and I'm gonna train basketball players, and I'm gonna go play catch with my son, then I'm gonna go pick up my daughter, then I'm gonna go hang out with my boys, and I'm gonna train with the national team. So now we have to like sit with each other for like days, like bump hours, like nobody can leave the house type energy. And I'm sitting there, and I said, "Babe, I got something to tell you." And we was going still through some stuff. It still was terrible. Communication and intimacy wise, it was just not there. And I said, I apologize to you. I set you up. I made you feel like I will always have your back. I will always be there. I will always know what to do. I will always know what to say. Superman complex. You know what I mean? And I was like, I lied to you. And she been waiting on me. She didn't care what my truth was. She just wanted me to stop posturing and just be present. That's really what she wanted. So it was a relief for her to be like, I understand that, because I ain't always got it for you. Like, my wife had no problem expressing her truth, whether it was offensive or whether it was valid or whether it was the real truth or her opinion or her expression, her perspective, but she's going to share at least for you to know her truth. But that wasn't me. I'll kind of say what needs to be said to kind of just keep it moving, right? So when I confessed that started the journey for me to just like release myself of the unrealistic expectation that I was putting on everything, including myself. It was a relief for her for me to say it, but she seen my BS for so long that she still had to kind of like do her thing and kind of make things work for her.
Right.
But I think that started our dynamic of kind of operating from a space of not this idealistic of posturing, like everything's whatever. Like, nah, it ain't there. I'm gonna tell you what I want, and I'm gonna tell you what I need. But at the same time, if you don't do it, I'm finna keep it moving. Like so that started that journey, and then it started slowly her saying, "Am I really gonna be like that though, or am I having a moment that I'm expressing it?" And then we go back to posturing,
Back to where he was before.
which was one of her other frustrations. Because I have a moment with her. And she was like relieved, it was a safety valve, but then, 2 days later, it's like back with the same energy. You know what I mean?
Back. Yeah, I mean, the timeline is important to note, right? Because you guys are 23 years in. We were talking earlier about the reunion, what we're doing for the next phase. And so, there are people watching, listening. I'm listening, I'm taking it in as well, just through my own experience. The value in consistency and sticking to the wicket. We gotta say in the Bermuda, stick to the wicket and the runs will come.
Right.
The runs are just starting to come.
Yes.
Y'all been batting
last 2 years.
You've been batting for 20 years.
Yeah.
Swinging at the fences, and I'm using the cricket metaphor for all the Bermudians that's in the building that will watch.
Yeah.
But you've been consistently. But the commonality is we are going to figure this thing out through God first.
God first.
Yeah.
Promise.
So what does those runs look like now from your perspective? Like, what do the runs coming in now? How is that revived, or what's it like? What does showing up look like now for the both of you in this different and new and reinvigorated phase of the marriage, of the relationship?
It's honest. Right? It's just like the gloves are off, the veils are off. It's honest.
Not perfect.
But honest. And I think we really both see each other for who we are, and we're okay with it. You know what I mean? It's just like, because there was a time where I would see him and I didn't like, and let me tell you, I think it was because of my own biases, right? So you got to think, A student, goody, you know what I mean? Little Miss Perfectionist. That's a blinder.
Yeah.
Right? And for somebody who used to struggle with perfectionism, you don't give people grace. You look down on people. I would never do that. I would never, you know what I mean? It's that type of complex, and that's dangerous because it didn't allow me to give him grace.
Sure.
I was ready to crucify him. Like, oh my God, Crumpler, how could you? Right? But then it took me going through my mess to realize, oh my God, I'm no better than anybody. Like, I make bad choices, make mistakes just like, and how dare me talk about, Crumpler, you're this, that, and the third, when, Nick, look at you.
And as elementary as that sounds, you know, as we know, a lot of these things are often, it's hard to put that in practice. Because we know, everybody says, yeah, you know, I'm not perfect, and I don't do this.
Right.
But really and truly, these are the very things that break relationships.
For sure.
That break people, because you really don't take time out to just self-actualize. Be like, all right, I say these things, but how am I offering grace to people?
Because it's easy to, right? We were talking about it the other day. You know, Crumpler has a lot of conversations with men, as you guys know, and just hearing, you know, men pour their hearts out about what their women are saying about what they're not doing. But it's just like, but what are you doing though, sis? You know what I mean? Like, everybody has.
So talk to
work
those
to
women. Talk to those women. That's we heard. You know, we heard us speak game. Talk to those women, because you know we talk offline about some of the stuff we're endeavoring to do, and obviously we're going to talk about that more.
For sure.
But
I don't know, Chizzy.
Like,
we let it out the bed already.
Look, bruh. Let's have it. This is what we're here for. We're here to educate. Because I'm listening and I'm taking it in too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have desires to be married again and to find a partner, and so I can learn, and we all can learn. If you're standing in a place where you don't want to learn nothing, then you might as well just jump in the grave and just close the box sort of thing. Like, so talk to them and let them know what's up. Like, that's deconstructed.
Everybody has work to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in order for this thing to work, I think you have to be open and honest about the role that you play in your situation, right? Like, it's never one-sided. It's not, well, he's not, okay, but what about, it's so easy to talk about. I could rattle off the things the frustrations I have with Crumpler easy, but he could rattle off the frustrations he has with me too, same way, right? But I feel like, I don't know if it's human nature.
It is.
You know what I mean? It's just easier, right? Like, it's just like, it's just easier to point out what somebody else is doing and not take accountability for the role that you actually play, because some of that's on us too, right? And I think, you asked what it looks like Crumpler and I are just honest with each other. Like, we're completely honest, and we're in the best season of our life.
We are.
I
agree with that.
Yeah, like we're not going back from this thing.
I agree with that too.
We know we have the hard work to do, but we're willing to do it. It's a choice, Chizzy.
Sure.
Like, we're at the point now where it's just like, listen, bro, like, what are we doing? You know? And I think we understand that is bigger than us. We understand why the attacks come, right? So I think just having that knowing, like really understanding the game that we're playing, like helps us to gear up for it. Like, we know, like we know what it is and what it isn't, and we just intentionally choose each other, even though it's not perfect. But we know that it's not gonna be, so we don't even care that it's not. Right. You feel me?
Perfection unattainable.
Yeah, it's just like nah. Like, we know what we got, and we're gonna make this thing work.
Yeah. I would free anybody from that. Yeah. Perfection is unattainable. Yeah. And if that's your desire, then you're always gonna have problems. Yeah. There's only one person that walked this planet.
That's it.
That was perfect.
Yeah. Like I said, she got the juice. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yo, I'll sit back like game upon game.
So earlier when we started this conversation, you was a little nervous. You say you was nervous.
No, I like to just do banter for the banter's sake. But I told my wife, man, like, she's ready. Yeah. She's ready. She's ready for the world. She has tremendous value, man. Baby, I'm so proud of you. Right. And she's real. Like, she's been through. The other thing about it, she's qualified because she's been through hell and back. Yeah. She's dealt with me. She's dealt with herself, and she's doing the work. Going back to our partnership, like, the reason why I'm telling her, not because she's my wife and God gave me a vision, I want to pour into you. No, I sat back. I'm like, oh, you're doing real work now. Yeah. My wife, we could be honest, like, her work that she's doing now on herself the last 2 years, we've gone through this experience in these last 24 months.
Right.
Not because we wasn't praying and we wasn't trying. She decided, I'm going to put the work in on myself.
That's it.
And I'm not waiting on nobody. I'm not blaming nobody. I'm not. So not, not professionally. She's always done that because she's adamant about her work.
Right.
But she was adamant about herself of doing the work on her heart, on her faith, on her mindset, on her attitude, on her relationships. Not just, I want to get better at the Bible. She was like, all aspects. I want to get better, period.
Period.
And I told her, I was like, okay, 1 week, you get married. You hear people talk. All right, 2 weeks. Like, that's good. Yeah, two weeks. It was the months. I said, okay, now we all gonna be a benefit now because you're making it part of your lifestyle. So I was like, yeah. So kudos to her. Like, the family, and we be all the way, but the family is, but the woman kind of is the. Is the creator of like
you know what I'm
saying?
You can say
like,
it,
like I may be the leader, but she's like the one that's kind of creating this experience for all of us. Like, so for how our marriage experiences now, it's not because I haven't prayed for it and I haven't tried, I haven't bought books and book classes, do workshops and do marriage maintenance and get a marriage coach. My wife has decided I'm gonna create an experience with this. Like, and when she puts her hand on something, it's just different. So that's why I'm like, okay, now you taking care of yourself. Now you got me up there now. Now you got the kids up there now. Now you got God up there now. So now you can take care of everybody else now. Yeah. Now you can come up. So that's what I'm saying. Like she's not, like she'll be like, oh, I gotta stop. I gotta cook dinner. But not like, I gotta cook dinner.
Right.
She's like, I want to make a nice meal for my family.
Right.
I'm saying, don't have no resentment in your heart serving us, serving me.
Yeah, that chicken was all right.
But but before she'll be like, oh, like this, like, because she's busy and she's worn out and she got a lot of stuff in her head. It's like you got to find a way to compartmentalize that, baby. That when it's time to serve us, it should be like some different energy. Right. But it's all the work that had to be done to even get to that space.
Right, you don't get to that space.
Just because somebody's articulating it, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but she got to do that. Go back. She has to do that work. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in just a very grateful space. Yeah. But God showed me that, bro, if I didn't hold on to my values, even in the midst of my pain, like this, we would have never had this opportunity to experience this.
For sure. Yeah. For sure.
So give everybody grace to grow.
For sure, that's it.
You already know. That's it. And this is one of many for you, I know, especially. And I'm gonna challenge you. I know you don't need to be challenged, obviously, right? But there's a level of conversation that's necessary. Yeah. So now, having gone through a process, having known what it's like on the backside of that, there's a responsibility.
Absolutely.
Just like how you obviously are taking on your responsibility. There's a responsibility because families, marriages, relationships, people, women, men need these outlets. They need the resources. They need to feel like they're not traveling this road by themselves. And there's somebody, some group, some people who genuinely, intentionally want to care and help and support the development for the betterment of the families, which ultimately benefits the community, which ultimately is beneficial to God's kingdom. You know what I mean? So that's my only challenge, and it's a challenge. I know you're getting embraced easily. It's already, we already know that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just humbled to be in a space because I openly wanna thank the both of you on this platform for receiving me, for yourself. I told you openly, I appreciate everything that you poured into me. You as well, I appreciate you being able to be supportive in my moments where I needed a listening ear.
Yep.
And I see how you guys maneuver your relationship, and I'm like, yeah, that's good. And that's only good. So I'm thankful to be able to be in that space with the two of you and just watch and be a part of your journey. Because I remember, like I said, I remember when you guys were just starting. I remember when you brought him to me. I'm like, you're bringing this foreign American guy to my country? Like, you couldn't find a Bermudian guy? And not even knowing that 20-something years later, we'll be rocking.
Right here.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you couldn't have made a better choice. And he couldn't have made a better choice. So I just want to celebrate the two of you for that.
And what is it, anything that's on your heart, babe, that you want to leave our listeners?
man, the journey continues, right? Here, you know what I mean? We all have work to do. Do the work, stay strong enough, long enough.
Yeah, I love it. I just gotta say, this is by far we had the finest guest that we've ever had. On the podcast. I was taking it back like, dang,
You're sure you're not biased?
I'm not biased. That is the absolute truth. Man, listen, it's your boy, Coach Crump.
Yeah, man.
Follow Next Level Nick on your platform. Any information you want to give the people?
At Next Level Nick _, that's where you can find me.
Yeah, man. And so as we say here, man, the journey continues.
Yeah.
We out. Peace.
That was wicked.
Call you guy.
Oh.